All right. YouTube, can you hear us? I'm seeing people out there saying there's no sound.
Just watching.
How's the sound now? You can hear us. Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
We had music going in the beginning.
All right. That's weird. I wonder why the video didn't play sound. Interesting. All right. Well, hey, welcome everybody, and glad to see there's a bunch of people watching. So welcome to the podcast and our live stream of our audio podcast. So I got the lovely Michelle sitting next to us.
Yeah, he didn't even bring me in on the escalator today.
No, but we are the only podcast that takes you down the rabbit hole
on an escalator.
Oh,
there we are.
Wait a minute. Where are you?
There I am with my carry-on and much longer hair.
All right.
Probably about 20 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're back. So, man, we're going to have a crazy show. We're going to have a crazy show tonight, and I'm really excited. And I'm purposely not trying to be a shit starter with this one, but we're going to talk about some UFO stuff and statistics. That's why I said UFOs, damn UFOs and statistics. That comes from our latest episode that we did with Cheryl Costa last week. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk kind of Michigan specific statistics, but, we'll get into other things. And some of the other things I wanted to get into is why I wanted to bring on Mr. Rich Giordano from GUFON. So he'll be joining us here in a little bit as well. So it's going to be a fun night, and let's see where everything goes. And just real quick, people, if you want to help support the podcast, the best thing you can do is share us out and hit that subscribe button. We don't want you to buy anything or have anything fun, crazy stuff. Only if you want to. We're not pushing anything. So, but I will show you this awesome coffee mug right there. Yeah. Wait a minute. There we go. And actually, that was our first run, and it looks a lot better now after I updated some of that stuff. So, but yeah, we have a full store, and you can find all those links and everything down in the show notes once this is all done. But we do have a link tree that has all of our links. If you want to go and check out our store, hit us with PayPal. I know we're not at 1,000 subscribers yet, so we don't get super chats or anything like that, which is fine. We're not doing this for that kind of stuff. But any monetary donations or anything that we do get, we use it for new equipment, which we probably should look at getting some new mics or going to conferences and things like that, so it doesn't kill our notebook or our bank book, actually. So
yeah, I was going to say
those things get expensive.
Wayne's got the Cosmic Summit lined up, his June trip.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to go hang with Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, Ben Van Kerkwick, Johanna James. Who am I missing? Jimmy Corsetti. And both Ben Van Kerkwick and Jimmy Corsetti were just on the Joe Rogan Experience, which was awesome to see my friend Ben on there, which is really cool. And what a great show. If you're into ancient technology and things, I know I am. How did they build the pyramids? How can humans be 900,000 years old and not have had some kind of high tech? So great conversation they had with Joe, as always. But I guess we should start getting our conversation going here. So coming up right now, I'm bringing on Burton from Lost in the Dark podcast and Follow the Reaper. Burton, what's going on?
How's it going, my friends? Thank you so much for having me back.
Ooh, crazy night tonight, man.
This is going to be a great one. That last episode you guys did with Cheryl was outstanding.
Oh, thank you, man. We really appreciate it. So next person we're bringing in is Guy, get off my lawn. I don't know shit about this stuff, but I love it in its crazy wackadoo merit.
Let's get it straight. I'm right, you're wrong. That's the American way. End of story. Anyway,
Well, thanks for joining us again tonight, Guy. This is
I missed my nap, so I'm probably going to say dumb stuff. So in other words, this is going to be like all the other podcasts we've done.
yeah, pretty much. You know, it's a bunch of people that don't know shit talking about stuff that we don't know about. So, you know,
welcome to Let's Guess It stuff.
Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and bring on the guest of the hour. And I'm sure he's going to have some interesting things to say. And, you know, has anybody seen Richie? I mean, you know, that's kind of the thing.
Where's Richie?
Where's Richie? But
he was been abducted by aliens.
Yeah. Well, he's been asking for it for years. And so let's see.
Finally going to give him the experience.
Yeah. Well, somebody can probe him in the butt for sure. So
I think he would argue against that one.
So here he is, the man himself, Richie from GUFON. What is up, Richie? How are you?
This guy better be good. Huh? Hey, in the words of Scarfacci, I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Hey, Dorothy said in chat, by the way, hello, Dorothy. She said that she will happily probe you, Richie.
Alrighty,
that's a couple of offers in the last 30 seconds. I'm a little scared right now. This is Michigan UFOs and stuff, right? I'm scared.
Get some good running shoes and some tinfoil, Richie.
Yep.
It's underneath this hat.
The tinfoil. You know where you can put the tinfoil.
I always wear hats because I put tinfoil in them. I don't want people to. It's true.
We got Diane Boss yelling at us. Bring out Richie. Dang, man, she's bossy. Diane Boss. Wow.
Yes, she.
Man, all right. Let's before we start.
I feel like I'm on a jury. We got so many people.
Well, but it's not a jury of your peers.
Yeah, we wouldn't want like 12, 71-year-old lunatics.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Just really quick, I want to give out some shout outs to people who are here. We got Elfie Joe Bob. We got Atlantis is found. Bernie Miro is here. Conundrum's here. Diane Boss, Dorothy Hawkins, Lisa Bowden, or is it Bowden? I think it's Bowden. Marvelous Marvin, Scott Blight, and Tony Introvert. That's who all I'm seeing right now in the participation list.
Oh,
but we got a lot more
Rex
watchers.
Joined.
So we got Brookers is here, Anonymous Rex. So a lot of people have shown up. So awesome. Welcome, everybody.
Hey, and Lisa ordered a mug. She's going to be drinking coffee in style.
Hey, that mug, by the way, this mug right here.
That's
that you
awesome.
See, yeah. Guess where this is going? This is going to Richie's house.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, it's coming to you, Richie. This is our first run.
For a one-time love offering, $50. You get
Get that Starbucks thing out of here.
And then there's me with Yoda.
Oh, right on.
I got Yoda bit.
Yeah, so you had that alien girl coffee mug, and it's nah. We gotta get you a Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters podcast because we are not paranormal reports, Richie. We're paranormal encounters, damn it.
I'm only good for three words. After that, I can't remember anything.
I know.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
When Wayne
That's
came up
fine,
with the
man.
title for the show, he didn't even consult me.
The English
It's like,
teacher,
consult the English teacher when you're coming up with the name.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I just ran with it, man.
You can still shorten it.
Yeah. And that's what I do here. You can see it just says Michigan UFO podcast. So,
Just
But
take
all right.
off the word podcast. Everybody knows it is.
Yes, Diane. Wayne
that's-
has been on Richie's show.
Yeah, I've been on a couple times talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really
This is
cool.
my second time right here.
Yes.
Yeah, you were on our audio podcast, and this is the first time
Right.
you've come on our live stream because we recently just started these live streams. So, and these live streams are just kind of a sit around panel discussion, kind of BSing our way through things, talking about other episodes and what's going on in the news and, with UFOs and things like that. So,
I never met Guy before, but he
Yeah.
gets it, man. This guy knows exactly what it's all about. Well, that wasn't what I was meaning, but could have timed that any better.
I didn't get a nap, man. I'm really out of it. I should not.
He's on fire.
Guys had some very, very interesting experiences between his own experience and people that he's known. And that's how I met Guy, was originally through, he found our website and we were talking, and I said, come on the podcast. And it was like our 4th episode that we did, because we both saw these giant triangles hovering over the road.
Oh, wow.
His was a lot more. There's a lot more to his, and people can go back and listen to that episode if they want. It's up on YouTube, or you can find it on iTunes or whatever. But it was crazy. And we don't, that's what kicked us off into starting this whole thing and doing this. And now we've kind of graduated up to doing a live stream every other week. So
that's cool.
Here we are. But, I think next Friday we're doing our first true crime one, because I work with somebody whose relative was killed and featured on Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, wow.
And so we're going to, try to help out with our audience and things like that to see if we can find this woman who killed.
They still haven't found that gal?
No. U.S. Marshals are still after her.
Yeah.
And, obviously we're going to find out, what they're able to share. But it was episode 4 of season 3. So it was the
episode right
after the one with Jack Bashong.
Yeah.
And the Muskegon.
Wow. I probably watched it and didn't even know. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's wild. It's too, because she's got these bizarro tattoos all over her body. You'd think they could find her pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I guess not.
Yeah.
What do I know?
What do I know?
Everything and nothing.
We're
Everything
all crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So Burton, I know we talked before the show for a few minutes, and you have been doing some digging into the last podcast we did with Cheryl Costa and some of her statistical stuff. So why don't you go ahead and take the lead here a little bit, and I will scoot back. So go for it.
I dug back into it. I listened to the podcast over the course of like a couple of days while I was on the road. So I couldn't like write everything down right when I was listening to it, but I went back through it before we got on tonight to locate the some of the numbers from Michigan specifically. And I mean, it's pretty wild. Like it is, like, especially in reference, because you guys on the episode were asking specifically, for your areas and in the area where you guys had your experience. A lot of that's Wayne County, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Canton and Westland are also in Wayne County, right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay. So Wayne County total had 668 sightings over the course of 20 years from 2001 to 2020, and had 3 hotspots, which according to Cheryl's data is a hotspot is a specific day spike. So, and there have only been 730 reported one-day hotspot spikes ever, like in her research, and 3 of them are in Wayne County. One on June 13th in 2010, one on 9/11 in 2011, and one on July 4th of July in 2014. And I believe July. It could have been June. I think it was July though. And so that's for all of Wayne County, 668 total, and that's not broken down by type of craft or anything like that. Specifically though, going further, Westland in that time had 6 reported triangle sightings, and Canton in 2007 had 2 triangle sightings. But then Cheryl also went in to say that, like, on average, they project at least that only 1 in 257 people even report what they see.
Right.
So it's like, it's kind of a skewed number in that sense. But her data was fantastic, and all the work that she put into it, I loved. And those are the numbers I jotted down that she spoke about, at least specifically for like the Wayne County area of Michigan, which is Detroit, basically Detroit, Michigan.
I'm assuming you don't have at your fingertips anything for like Genesee County, right?
I don't think they ever discussed Genesee County on the episode, honestly.
Well,
which
if you've ever been to Flint, you'd kind of know why.
I'm very familiar with Genesee County and Flint. And that is one thing I was almost like, man, I wish this was a live stream so I could type it in and ask him real quick.
Right.
Because that was something I was thinking of.
Because
Genesee County, that's where you had your encounters, and your encounters are like, my cousin still lives in Burton, Michigan. Right.
See,
yes.
She did not go back through the 90s. She started at 2000.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. She started at 2000. So she didn't go back. She just looked at 20 years.
Yep.
Now, Richie, when I was talking to her, I asked her, like, how do you vet? Like, how do you know what reports would be real or, could be legit and stuff? And so they kind of took an average. They said, she said, like, MUFON said you got to throw out about, I want to say like 75%. And then was it National UFO Reporting Center, or it might have even been Blue Book or something like that, where they said you got to throw out 68%. So they went with like 70% were legitimate. And so if only 1 out of 250 some people are reporting stuff and they threw out 70% of their data, it's still like statistically significant of the sightings and things that people are reporting. So I'm curious, what's your thought process on it? And I know you've seen some really incredible things, because when you were on our show, you showed it. And then on your show, you had your own video, which I still think is a great video. But what do you think?
Thanks. About the vetting process?
Yeah. And are we just doing statistical analysis of dots and balloons? What's going on here?
Yeah, pretty much. Geez, I mean, there's so many things going on up above us that we don't know anymore, which is why I think they had to come out with the Threat and Arrow, the new office. And because they're flying this tech really, really high, and it can be seen 2 states over from any point pretty much. And people have incredible stuff, that they can record it with. And a lot of this is just us, it's just man-made stuff. But then again, there's a good percentage, and I think it's a small percentage, but probably 1 to 2% that we can't ever explain. And those are the ones that interest me. And when you do this long enough and you read enough stories and see enough things, you get to understand what is the real thing and what isn't. It's really weird. It just somehow starts to make sense. You get to see a pattern in the same story you've heard 10 times. It's like you get used to hearing some similar things and how people lie and all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it other than just what they have on video. But if they are lucky to get it on video, great. But if it's just a story, I'm not buying it 9 times out of 10, because people just don't know. When you first get in the field and look up, you've never looked up before generally. I mean, most people, they go in their backyard for a swim, they look at the stars, and that's about it, or taking a walk, and nobody stares at it for hours like, UFO hunters do. There's a lot of things that people just don't know that are mundane. So, there's a lot of ways you can verify it too. There's apps to look for satellites and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, well, Dorothy, where did it go? There we go. Dorothy said, still with the percentage that Cheryl said they used, there were an overwhelming number of cases.
That's a lot.
It is. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's what?
That's too many to be legit, to be like alien UFOs. I mean, when we're talking unidentified flying objects, I'm thinking aliens, not just... Because most of the time it's just us, right? But those times it isn't, man. It's magical.
That is something that Cheryl definitely went into. She on the episode, she made it clear that like most of this stuff is explainable phenomenon.
Yep.
Us, or just natural phenomenon that happened that
Right.
like you said, a lot of people, we don't spend as much time looking at the sky as we used to.
People
as a
misidentify
species.
things. You
Yes,
know, I mean,
yes. You know, between satellites and just weather phenomenon and things like that, a lot of that is not just, it's not like just well known, like it's not common knowledge for people to look up and see. So when they see it, it becomes an unidentified aerial phenomenon. And but Cheryl did make a very good point. Like I think at one point in the conversation, she even said, like, even if 1% of this, like, and that's the real stuff that we're looking at.
Yep.
You know, that's really kind of what it is. That's still a large number of sightings, but you know, I think you're right, Richie. I think most of it is gonna be us in general. But when it's something different, that's when it's special. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it only takes one.
Exactly.
That's it.
people are
And
very
we
quick
need
to,
that one.
people leap to these. I think on a previous thing that we did like this, I talked about, was driving from Brownsville to Houston years ago with two guys about noon, and this huge fireball went across the sky. It was enormous. It was obvious to me. It was obviously either a meteor or space junk. It was something burning up, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. It was
Like a bolide.
I had this cargo van. We had a chair in the middle, and we're all sitting there, man. And these other guys are freaking out, man. And one guy actually called Hobby Airport in Houston and made a UFO report. And I said, dude,
Wow.
if that's an alien craft, they're all dead, because it just, I was like, I'll never forget. Bob Horton was the guy's name. It was 1981. I still remember it. And I mean, maybe it was a UFO. It looked like something burning up, re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. But this guy who was riding with me, our bass player, was completely convinced he'd seen an interplanetary starship. And I'm like, dude, that's burning up. That's space junk or a meteor. And, people leap to this stuff. In the case of what happened to me in 94, there was no leap. It's 125 foot above my head and parked.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of stuff that's reported, there is a prosaic answer. It's a good percentage of it, probably most of it. So that's my 2 cents. I'm going back to sleep now.
Well said. I don't know. I fall more on the side that they probably are misidentified, and I'm not convinced it's aliens as much as I think that I am of the opinion of the technology was already here. And Richie, I thought I heard you on the show tonight. I was rewatching it, trying to get as much, listening done that I could before we went live. You were talking about they're already here. They're already here. What's your position on these things? If that 1% is legitimate, what's your position on what you think they are?
It changes. That's the thing.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm not the only one then.
I don't know why it does, but what it is, you get into a belief system and then something else comes along that shatters what you thought was true, and it sounds better. So you're like, oh man, that may be it. So I think the logical thing is, because we're so far away from everything, and I don't really know if there's such a thing as time travel or light speed or faster than light speed or quantum this and all that jumping crap, because that would have to mean they've already been here then for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And maybe they live in the ocean. They can't come up here. Maybe they were stranded here. Whatever it is, they could be the Atlanteans. I don't know. But it's as if all the technology's hidden somewhere. We accidentally may have found it, and we've been trying to back engineer it. Maybe these aliens made contact with us in the 50s and said, look, you got this thing. You don't know what you're doing. Let us show you. But we want to abduct some people along the way, if that's okay with you. But, they've already been doing it anyway. So I don't know why they would want permission and sign a contract and do all that stuff. But other than that, I think they're here. I think they've been here, and I think they're really smart. Maybe they can jump in and out of dimensions, change their vibration, become invisible, cloak, whatever. But there's just too many stories, just too much. But
Yeah.
no evidence, no evidence. That's the thing. Why? Why?
Well, I think what Martin says here,
Ugh.
if I understand his thought process, is kind of the same as mine,
Mhm.
a little bit. The first part for sure. Perceptive experiences tend to be personal, 100%. Because if these things were legitimately meant for everybody to see, then we would have thousands of people at a time reporting these sightings at the same time, same location. But it's not. When Michelle and I saw that triangle at 2:30 in the morning, we weren't drunk. We're driving home. Here's this huge 300-foot triangle floating above the intersection, and whatever cars were on the road did not react at all. Nothing. And I saw this thing up close because we basically went right under the edge of it to get on the expressway. And I looked up, and it looked like a freaking heat mirage underneath it in the shape of a triangle, right? In the shape of a triangle, but in between the three lights, the body of it was like shimmering. And it literally looked like heat coming up off the blacktop in the summertime.
As was said about the Phoenix Lights. People said the same thing when they looked up inside that boomerang shaped thing. They said it looked like the heat coming off the road during summer.
But Alex and I and Ed, who all apparently saw the same object,
the same night.
Well, yeah, I mean that's complicated. But the point is, we all sort of can't. That's hard to explain because Alex saw it in 2019 at the same.
Oh, that's
spot.
right.
But I mean, what we saw was just solid as hell. It had a ribbed pattern on the bottom with a very strange design, kind of looked like piping or something, with this huge red light in the middle, and it looked solid as hell. There was nothing vaguely amorphous or translucent or transparent about it. It looked like a solid object. So
did it look like Tetris the way it was put together, like pieces?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good.
Boom. That's what I saw in my dreams, which everybody says they weren't dreams. I was having an experience, but I still say it was dreams. But maybe
that's a spectacular.
That's it.
As a matter of fact, I watched the documentary, and there's a guy named Michael Sherratt, and he held up this. It was
a picture of a UFO, and it was exactly that.
I went, that's it. I mean, that's what I saw. It had these weird. It looked like Tetris. That's a great thing. Yeah. It was solid as hell, and it was 125 foot above my head. I wasn't like, I was sober. I was driving to work at Deco Manufacturing.
Man.
You know what I mean?
And the one we saw did not have that center red light in it, but there were lights on the quote unquote back side of it. Because when it rotated and moved parallel to us. It started to get out ahead of us a little bit. Michelle was the passenger. She looked and she could see on the back side there was these rectangular red lights.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Do you want to know why?
No sound. No sound.
You want to know why it's Tetris shaped? Because it changes its shape, so it can maneuver and be a different shape.
So you saw one, Rich?
When I was 13 and 14 years old, I had recurring dreams of a UFO that came into my backyard, and I saw it was during a thunderstorm, monsoon seasons, and I mean, the dream was so real that I swear.
Yeah,
but
I hate to interrupt you here, but
that's okay.
I just want to say this, man. I've dealt with an awful lot of people, had experiences, whom I believe in. Whether or not you would, I don't know. I mean, like I said, just remember as we go along, I'm right and you're wrong. Just kidding. But dreams are, man. I could tell you a dream story that would blow your mind, but. You think it was a dream, but a lot of people that have experiences will say it was dream-like, but then they wake up and they've got marks or something. I mean, I think it's how bizarre is it that you said to me that it looked like Tetris, but it was a dream you had? I mean, well, that's exactly what I saw. I couldn't have come up with something better. That's exactly.
Yeah.
It looked like Tetris. That's what it looked like.
And I didn't come up with that right away. It took me like 20 years to think of Tetris as what it looked like.
Yeah.
You know?
I know that. I know how that goes. It's hard to put the word something that kind of strange, but yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, just real quick, Richie. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to turn this over to you.
He was telling a great story, and I interrupted.
Everybody knows it.
And he's coming back on here, but I just need to. I want to acknowledge and appreciate the 49 people that are watching right now. And, really, and that's just on YouTube. So.
Sweet.
Hey, thank you. And most of this is because of Richie. Put that down, guy. Stop.
That was a joke. A joke. Like I said, so far for all the experiences I've had, I'm $27 in the hole for an overpriced shirt.
That's right.
From you guys.
Yeah. For buying one
I'm not famous. I have no money.
Yeah, look at Burton's wearing one. I'm wearing one. I'm wearing the new style.
And right after my experience in 94, I started smoking, which I thought, who would ever smoke cigarettes? I'm going to have a smoke right now.
and well, again, Guy, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I will.
I know you will.
And get off my lawn.
When you had your experience seeing a triangle on a freeway, didn't you have a similar experience to Wayne and Michelle where nobody else seemed to know?
It was utterly bizarre. It was absolutely insane. I was driving across an overpass 3 miles north of where I eventually came under this thing, over Bristol Road, so you're elevated.
Which is where my cousin lives off of Bristol Road right now.
What's that?
My cousin lives off of Bristol Road right now, so I know very well.
So this thing is there's a period of time I see it like 3 miles away and think, man, that must be a UPS plane or some big weird cargo plane because commercial flights don't land at Bishop. Yep. So I had to drive about 3 miles till I actually came around this curve, and this thing's sitting right damn near on a freeway, and it's 300 foot on each side. And so you got to figure it was 5 o'clock in the morning, so 5 a.m. almost exactly, maybe 10 after. The morning rush had started. It was sparse, but there were cars. Nobody was even hitting their brakes. And then add to that the fact that when I talked to MUFON the next day, after the guy
weird.
The guy at the airport tells me to call MUFON. I don't even know what MUFON is, right? I call MUFON, and this lady tells me, "Oh no, you're not going crazy. 2 ladies carpooling to Lucas Surtec in Fenton at 10 o'clock that night, like 7 hours before." She tells me that at 10 o'clock the night before, this thing was at the same spot. When I drove basically underneath it, the nearest ball of light, the nearest headlight was just to the right of the southbound lanes. She said when they drove southbound, they drove underneath it. It was straddling both lanes of the freeway, but like me, like 125 foot in the air above US 23, 3 miles south of Flint on a Thursday night. Are you kidding me? I mean, hundreds of people would have seen this thing.
Right.
It would have been
exactly.
This would have been on like CNN and the ABC World News Tonight or something. I mean, obviously, in my opinion, I mean, that's all I'm being serious now for once, on this whole thing. All we've got is our impressions, our ideas, our opinions. Who knows if we're right, but it seems pretty clear to me, as foo-foo and as way out as this sounds, as preposterous as this sounds, that some people see them and some people don't. And now how that could happen, I don't know. But there's no way. I know when I was on this freeway, I was freaking out. I could first see it really clearly about maybe 3/4 of a mile away, and I was freaking out right then. And I mean, I was looking for a turnaround. I just want to get off that freeway. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? It's not moving. It's got these strange lights. What is going on? It was surreal. And to think that nobody else, there should have been cars pulled over and people hitting their brakes. And I'm the only guy slowing down. And it's funny because when we did that, when I did a podcast with Wayne, and then and Michelle, and then a couple of guys heard it and they'd had the same experience at the same spot. Well, one of them did. Alex said the same thing. He said there wasn't hardly any traffic on the freeway, but there had to be some. And, he said he couldn't stop. I couldn't either. I kept thinking, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not, kind of like almost like a telepathic thing. And he said the same thing.
Yep.
Do you think the reason you slowed down, nobody else did, and I've been hearing this a lot the last 5 years, is because maybe they locked into your frequency or you accidentally locked into theirs and you were able to see each other maybe?
Well, I mean, it's some.
I don't know if that could be.
No. Yeah. Well, that's like me. I mean, like we're left to speculate. Apparently, there's a guy, I'm sure you guys have heard of him. Who's the guy at Stanford that's a microbiologist, immunologist? I'm having
Gary Nolan?
Yeah, Gary Nolan. Thank you.
Oh.
And he looked at the brains of people who had seen UFOs and people in the military, and I think they were in the intelligence. Anyway, military people, government people who'd seen UFOs and found that uniformly they had enlarged and denser basal ganglia, which is a structure deep in the center of the brain. So is it that? I mean, is it like I joked with somebody, my dad could wiggle his ears and I can't, but I mean, is it like just some weird genetic marker that, pardon me, can I swear? Shit, who knows? I don't know, but I don't think that the morning that I was on that freeway, and I didn't snap to this for years. I don't think other people could see this thing. And I know there was a young couple at work that did see it, but there should have been a crap load of people that did. This other young couple, they were like semi-hysterical, as was I. And what was that thing, man? What was that? And I'm like, I don't know, some kind of UFO. And but I didn't hear other people talking about it. And oddly, Carolyn and Felicia, my coworkers who got to work an hour late with a crazy story and would never talk about it after the first week. I mean, they don't remember seeing anything in the sky either. They said, we didn't see anything in the sky. Just their van started spinning and they thought they'd hit black ice and yada, yada, yada. And they were both extremely religious African-American women. Carolyn sang in a gospel group till the day she died and knocking stuff off the table. I'm getting animated. I'm having a psychotic break, I think, talking about this stuff.
All right, well, take a break, guy. Take a break. Take a breather. Smoke a
I need more
cigarette.
coffee.
Get more coffee.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But Rich, let's turn it over to you. I know you started to tell a story before we all kind of jumped in and started yapping. So
Yeah, I want to hear Rich's story.
Was it about the stream?
Man, I want to hear about that.
Nope, too late.
All right, everybody. We want to thank Richie for joining us and
have a good night. All right, so
what an asshole.
I am the whole ass.
Richie is the most loved or most hated man on YouTube in ufology.
I don't hate it.
Just for being right.
Because
I'm right all the time.
Hey, that's my job.
That guy.
I know. That's why I had a feeling about you. All right. So, like we were talking about, my repetitive. Well, I had this dream a couple of times, probably 4 or 5 times. And when I got older and told it for the first time on one of these shows, my show, people are like, sounds like you were really abducted. And I'm like, I've had several dreams from different houses of seeing things, a UFO and the schoolyard where I used to live. And so it's followed me since I've been at least in Arizona. When I was 10 in New York, we moved to Arizona. I saw something when I was about 7-ish, a red dot in the sky, which at the time there was a huge blackout on the whole East Coast. It was like a record-breaking blackout at night, and everybody came out, and then everybody was reporting these red lights. But anyway, so I wake up, thunderstorms going off, and I walk through the kitchen to go look at the storm at the porch in the backyard. And this was on an acre, so you go about 40, 50 feet, and you hit the pool. And I walked outside, and all of a sudden the storm, it just cleared up, right above the house, right above the pool area. So I walk out there and I turn, I see my mother's there in the kitchen, and I got startled. I go, Ma, you see this? And she just, didn't move, didn't turn her head. And that's what kind of made me think it was a dream. But it was like she was in a trance. And usually my mother and father are out, you know, when I used to live with them. It's not just my mom or my dad. It's like everywhere they go together in the house. But it was just her. So I go outside and I go, this is amazing. The storm's all around, but not right here. And then I see a UFO come down out of the clouds. It tilted on its side, and I saw the ridges that looked like Tetris.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, that's really cool, really weird looking. And then as I'm looking at the craft, and it's tilted about 45 degrees and it's creeping along, we had like a 70, 60 foot pool. So it was going across the pool, and it was getting closer to me, and you can feel the vibration from it. It's different from like bass from a car that goes by. It really resonates like every pore in your body. You feel it in your eyebrows, everything. I remember my ears and my teeth were ringing. It was making me itch. And two little craft came off the side of it, and they had little red lights attached to them. And then they came over and went on the side. And the big craft, I put my hand on it, and my hand disappeared, and I was inside of it, but my arm disappeared. But I was putting my hand in there and didn't know. And I looked inside, and there was the inside. It was all red, like everything was like infrared. It was all red, like a red filter. But I could see the pool through the UFO. And I can still see the UFO, like I'm looking in it, but I didn't get in it. I got scared. So I took a step back, and something told me the little red lights moved. And when they moved, I felt like, don't be scared, it's okay. So the little red lights attach back onto the craft. The craft backs up, it lifts up, goes through the hole in the cloud that it made, and then took off like you wouldn't believe. And there was like a little trail of clouds that just barely went with it. And that was that dream. And I had that dream, little variations of it, but almost identical every time, probably
It's weird, man.
3 or 4 times that year, and then the year after. And then I didn't have it again. And then I had it one more time when I was in my 30s. And then when I was 36 is when everything changed. So, yeah, it was pretty weird.
When
But
you
it was
said,
so...
when you said everything changed, meaning what?
Well, that was when I saw an alien in the bedroom, and 2 nights later, woke up to something talking in my ear as I was about to wake up. This is a story that goes, and it says, "I'll be in your head before you wake up." And I woke up. I was already up, I thought. And when I did the voice for my wife, and I said, this is what the voice sounded like. It sounded like it was trying to disguise itself. And I did the voice for her, and I'll do it now. And it goes, "I'll be in your head before you wake up." And I go, oh my God, that's me. That was my voice. I go, I can't believe it. I came back and told myself I'll be in your head before you wake up. What the fuck does that mean? And I felt the breath on my ear and everything. And whoever was there was there. And it was, and 2 nights earlier, it was this ear. And then I woke up because I had a pain in my ear, and I looked up and I saw a blue light reflecting off something on the headboard. And I turned, saw a beam go right back into an alien's hand.
Whoa. Richie, hold on. Did you say a blue light?
Yeah, bluish white light.
Shit, guy.
Yeah.
And then we had sex.
No. You did. I love a happy ending.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everybody got a happy ending that night. It is.
That had a very Disney quality to it.
The
reason, actually, I was just kind of like, I kind of froze when you said the blue light thing, because, I saw this UFO. It was very, very close to me. And I know it sounds nuts. I felt like it warded me off with some form of telepathy. And I mean, I was not into this stuff, man. I got a Bachelor of Science in psychology. Then I flipped houses. I do drywall, plumbing, electrical. I've got a display. I mean, I was not into this. But I mean, this stuff happened. And, I think they took my coworkers, and according to MUFON, they took 2 other women carpooling at the same spot.
I was actually going to ask about that.
That's
that
cool.
because I knew that you had
So bizarre.
the story of
the
two co-workers. I forgot about the MUFON thing.
Well,
Do
yeah,
you-
it was
they-
just
they
bizarre.
weren't-
Yeah, it was
wasn't-
bizarre because I didn't know what MUFON was. I was, my brains were dripping out my ears.
It's
the day
not
after this.
possible it was the same though.
No, it's
No,
You guys, they
okay.
keep going over this. It's like I feel like Mrs. Salinger in the fourth grader that I had. And we're going to do this one more time. Okay.
For
We're
all
gonna
the
do
new
this one more
listeners.
time. Everybody put on their thinking cap.
We have 55
this
people
came down.
watching right now.
This is
So
how this happened. I see this thing on a Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday, I wake up. I'm totally not right. I'm freaked out. I make a bunch of calls. The guy at the airport tells me to call MUFON. Never heard of it. Gives me a number. I call MUFON. I think it was Peter Davenport out on the West Coast. It was an 800 number.
No.
He says, call the state director in Michigan. She's in Flushing. Well, that's only 10 miles from me. I call this lady. She says, I tell her what happened. She says, oh, you're not going crazy, honey. She said, 2 women carpooling to Lucas Surtec in Fenton at 10 o'clock the night before were driving south. They suddenly realized, for reasons they could not figure out, they started laughing because they were going north. And they looked at, he's like, why are we going north? And they got off, they turned around, and on their second pass going south to Fenton, Michigan, to Lucas Surtec in Fenton, Michigan, right? Which is maybe 15 miles south of Flint. They go right underneath this massive triangular craft, right? Now, I didn't get a lot of details about them. I go to work on Monday, and on Friday in the break room, I'd been babbling about this thing, met this young couple. This gal who's my only friend in this place, the only person I know on a first name basis. This gal says, she comes running up to me at the end of the day and says, "Guy, you got to call me after work. You got to call me after work." And I thought she had a family problem or something. Her name is Carolyn, and like I said, she's the only person I'd met there in the 3 weeks I'd been there. She used to sing in bands. I played in bands. Anyway, so I called her after work. So there's this set of women that MUFON tells me about that got apparently abducted on what would have been Thursday night about 10 p.m. on their way to Lucas Surtec in Fenton, right?
Okay.
I call Carolyn when I get home. I'm like, what's up, Carolyn? And she's, Guy, what does Iron Tomb mean? What does Iron Tomb mean? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She segues into this story. Well, me and Felicia were carpooling to work. She said on that morning when you and those other people said you saw a UFO, Friday we were carpooling to work, and she said we thought we hit black ice. I was driving my conversion van, and all of a sudden we started spinning, and it was just going faster and faster and faster and faster. And I get sick on carnival rides, and I didn't even get sick. And she said I thought the cars were going to hit us because I saw the lights. And she said, then she started like crying and said, "But Guy, then I realized we were going up in the air. We were going up in the air." And she tells, and then she blacked out and says she woke up on a damn table with getting like a gynecological exam from some being. And the next thing they remember is coming out of the sky and being on the side of the road. And Felicia says, "Isn't God wonderful?" I wrote this all down, and Carolyn said, "Yes, he is." And Felicia says, at least we'll be to work on time to get on the freeway, to pull out of the road and realize they're going north. And I said, "Where did you get off to turn around and come back?" And she says, Grand Blanc Road, which was the exit just north of where I drove under this thing. But this is a distinctly different set of women who are driving to Deco Manufacturing in New Hudson, Michigan, which is where I worked, which is like 55 miles south of Flint. So who is ever going to even believe this? I don't think a UFO researcher would buy this. I've never heard of something like this. I've watched every documentary. These 2 sets of women, they both made reports to MUFON. I'm not inventing this. There's no reason to make up.
You can find the reports.
You guys heard Felicia, or, I didn't find Felicia's report till 23 years after the fact. I mean,
but she had a baby.
Well, this is the crazy part. Like I said, this is why nobody's ever going to believe me. I mean, on Tuesday, my then wife started working in this plant, right? And she worked on a line with Felicia, who was the gal in the passenger seat. I didn't really know her. I knew her, I waved to her, whatever. I didn't know her name even. And she determined that Shelley was my wife. I think she knew that Carolyn had called me. We get in the car to drive home, and Shelley says to me, she says, "You're not going to believe what Felicia told me." And I'm like, what's this going to be? I mean, this has already been, the friggin' Twilight Zone, And she says, well, she was pretty matter of fact about it. She just said her and Carolyn got abducted by aliens, and she's been trying to get pregnant, and she's been having problems, and she doesn't know why. But she said she thinks these guys made her pregnant. She doesn't know why. And I told her right there, I swear to God, I said, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I mean, it was just, I was fried mentally. I used to have a Shure Vocal Master PA system in the 70s, and it had a red button that said thermal overload, and it would come on if it got too hot. And it's like my brain was like overloaded, and I didn't want to talk about this. I quit that job 2 weeks later. I didn't even know Felicia's last name.
Why'd you quit? Because of that?
No, it was a crappy temp.
Okay.
I usually had good jobs, and it was I had to grab something. Something happened with my job.
Sure. You're just curious.
I had to. No, you're fine. And so, but what was odd is 23 years later, Linda and I are married. So many things have happened. I'm not even thinking about it. But of course, Linda's listening to this story ad nauseum, And one night we're sitting there, and she did a Google search for carpool alien abduction Flint, which I'd never done, And she says, "Honey, come look at this." And I find this. You guys played a transcript of it that Michelle read. Michelle read it, what
Back on the show.
obviously written by Felicia, though it was not signed. And she'd submitted it to MUFON, and it was this kind of long, rambling paragraph talking about being in the passenger seat of the van. It starts spinning around. They feel like they're in a football field. There's all these multicolored lights. It's crazy. But you guys know that the last sentence, I don't have it in front of me, is something like, and the oddest thing of all is that 9 months later or something like that, I had my son, who is now 17.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what, I almost literally, I was standing right next to this computer looking at her monitor reading that. I read that shit and I just about fell over dead. I'm like, this can't even be real, man. And, you always hear of them taking babies, fetuses. In this case, like I said, who's going to believe this? And I'm stuck with this. I talked to my doctor about it recently. I was at the doctor's, and he was real interested, which was odd. I don't know why. I was going to see the doctor, and sometimes when I'm stressed, it comes out. And he was really sympathetic, and he said, "Look, I mean, it's hard sometimes because even in the UFO community, and I'm leaving out a lot. I mean, this is so bizarre, and it's not even consistent with a lot of stories. I mean, they take babies. She said they made me pregnant, and she had a kid. I mean,
jeez.
It
happens. I've heard it happen. Yeah.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Women couldn't get pregnant, and they had this experience. And next thing you know, she had twins or triplets. I mean, it's always like.
Real? Yeah. I haven't heard much. I haven't really seen that. I've seen them take babies, but all I know is, my ex-wife said, she doesn't know why, but she says she's sure these guys made her pregnant. I'm like, yeah,
that's cool.
I was like, just stop,
Wait, so let me ask you. I didn't mean to interrupt, but so would you have a boy or a girl?
I don't know. I don't even know her. Rich, I never knew her last name. And I tried to call Carolyn.
Oh, okay.
I tried to call this gal that I knew 4 years later. Years ago, I drank. I haven't drank in years. Like twice, 3 times, but I don't drink much. But I drank like 4 beers and got up the courage to call Carolyn like 4 years after this happened. And I tried to I wanted to talk to her because I was having a hard time with all this.
Wow.
And I wanted to know if I just wanted to talk to her.
Hell
and her
yeah.
husband answered, and I said, I explained myself, very nice man. And I said, you don't know me, but Carol and I shared this bizarre experience out on the freeway, blah, blah. And nice guy. And he chuckled and said, "Guy, I know what you're talking about." And he said, they're very religious. And he said, "We know something happened out there. We just don't know what." And he said, Carolyn can't talk about it. She gets too upset. And of course I was respectful of that.
Yeah.
And I always had this dream that I always had this wish that I would talk to her someday. And then I found her obit. She died of cancer in 2019.
Oh no.
It really hit me hard. It's kind of like going to war with somebody, we went through this really odd thing together. And I know what happened. She knows it happened. And at least if we were in the same room together, it'd be two of us that weren't looking at each other thinking, we were making up a yarn. Yeah, it's a lonely friggin' deal because this is so off the wall. I mean,
well, I got to ask you. I thought you said she got pregnant.
No, that was the gal. Okay, there were two ladies. My friend was Carolyn. She was driving. Felicia, the gal who I didn't really know, that was the gal that got pregnant.
Okay. All right, got it.
And what set this whole conversation out now, I should just start with, I was born on February 10th, 1952. I mean, this has been, retitle this, The Life Story of Guy Merritt Jr. But what I was going to say was he mentioned blue light. And I thought, well, they took Carolyn and Felicia. This has nothing to do with me. I was a collateral damage. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, blah, blah, blah. And I saw nothing for 18 years. Nothing happened. And then 2012, I was in a real bad way. It was a really, really, really bad marriage. I was living on the east side of Flint, Michigan, in a house I bought used as a rental. I was awake at 3:00 in the morning. It's a long story. My job had gone away. And my wife was gone for the night. And I walked out. I was playing Play Money Poker on the internet. And it was 3 a.m. and I thought, screw it. It's 3:00, but I don't have to go anywhere. So I went out to the kitchen to get a cup of coffee. And there was a coffee pot on a stand, and there's a window above that stand, right? And it's 3:00 in the city, though. And I'm standing there pouring this coffee, and this beam of blue light outside of my house literally lights up. It's blue day, this soft blue daylight. It's like blue friggin' daylight. And there's some junk in this lot next to my house because there'd been a house there that they tore down, and there's no shadows. It didn't make any. It was almost like this light was alive, and I could see where it stopped. It was this huge beam. My house is being beamed in this blue light, and it was on for about 10 seconds, and then it went out. And I stood there with that, and I thought it went out. I stood there with this coffee cup, and I thought, man, did I just see that? The minute I thought that, they turned it back on. And I literally said out loud, I said, you jokers. I said that out loud because I thought, I know who the hell, I know who you are. And I ran out the front door, and it was like that neighborhood was real loud and noisy. And the house set up on a rise. It wasn't a car for a block and a half. I couldn't hear a cricket chirping, nothing. It was like time had stopped. I walked in the house. Wife comes home in the morning. I tell her about it, a little Mexican lady. And, she thought it was weird, but she didn't see it, right? And so 4 nights later, she's like, she wants to watch movies, and I'm going to bed at 11, right? So it was like 3 or 4 nights later. And I said, well, go ahead and watch movies. I'm going to bed. Morning, she throws the bedroom door open. She's all freaked out. She says, the blue light you told me about, I call it laser blue. It came on all around the house. She's all freaked out. And I said, did you go out to see where it was coming from, And she said, no, I was too scared. And I said, why didn't you wake me up? And she said, you couldn't wake up. I shook you, and you wouldn't wake up. And then after that, it's been crazy, man. And I don't give a shit who believes me. I mean, I'm an old man. I've had a heart attack and a stroke. I've had a fun life. I have no reason to invent any of this shit. Embellish it, exaggerate it. There's no gain in it. I joke about, I've never made a friggin' nickel from it. I don't want to. Never gave a damn about money.
Oh, no, I believe you that this is happening. I mean, I don't normally say that, but it sounds legit to me.
I'm
not just because you're here.
I'm not going to make some shit like this up. I've said to Dwayne, and I was a musician from age 13 to about 38. I literally, just because I was in casinos, I met Joe Louis, hung out with Cassius Clay Sr., turned down a job with Mickey Gilley when he was the hottest thing in country music because he offered me lousy money. played at the St. Regis Hotel for a year and had Aretha Franklin come in and ask me to play stuff and say hi, guy. And I've had a fun life, man. I don't need some crazy ass story about spaceships and aliens. I mean, I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
This is one thing that drives me batshit is people. We're so cynical. Well, we've been lied to a lot by the government, and we've all been lied to by a friend or a lover or a family member. But I don't think too many people intentionally make. Well, I don't know. I know I wouldn't make this up. I don't know what you get from it. I mean, and I don't know what it is. Is it aliens? I mean, is it people? Is it people from other planets? Is it beings from another time, another dimension? Is it?
Yes.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Check all the above, man, because nobody knows. You know,
I'm not going to quit smoking tonight.
good for you.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, I didn't mean to, but I know Rich hadn't heard it. And,
I loved it. No, it was cool as hell.
You know,
Okay, look,
it's the
everybody.
truth, man. I loved hearing your story. It was absolutely, it blew my friggin' mind, dude. I mean,
Yeah, when he said that blue light, it was like,
his whole story. I mean,
yeah,
I think you've had the touch, whatever you want to call it. I think something happened to me during the blue light because after that, a lot. I'm not going to waste more time on my story.
It's definitely not a waste.
A ton of shit happened after that.
You know, when me and my wife separated and you know we were done in 2009, almost everything stopped. I actually think I have to give it all this attention because of my wife and I being together. We never had any children. We didn't want any, but it's weird that as soon as I, you know, separate from her, everything stopped. Even the dreams, nothing. Yeah, it's been dead.
That is odd, and you wonder why that would be. You know, yeah.
It was weird because when I moved into her house when we first got together, so I didn't have to keep paying an apartment, and that's when I started seeing stuff in 2004. And then we moved 45 miles away, didn't see anything for like months, and then all of a sudden it's like they found me or her. And that was when I had that weird dream, it whispering in my ear, saw the alien at the foot of the bed. Yeah, when the light retracted, it lit the alien up as it got closer to it, so I was able to see its pasty skin.
Was it like a strange color of blue?
Do you mean the light or
the light? Yeah.
No, it was very pleasant, to be honest. It didn't hurt.
You know what? This light, what was odd too? That light kind of calmed me. The light that I saw, like I was terrified of the UFO, but the light, which that sounds real weird. I've always wondered why I was almost like drugged. It was like kind of like it didn't scare me at all.
Well, I woke up because there was a loud ringing in my left ear. And when I woke up, it was the light in my ear that was reflecting off my ear onto the headboard.
Wow.
So when I turned around, I saw it retract, and then I saw the skin, and it was really weird. The skin was kind of like, it had like, I can't explain it. Each section, it's like there were, you know, like how we have pores?
Right.
But these were like sectioned off, like hexagons. Like,
well, you mean more like kind of scales? Or?
Yeah, scaly. Like maybe it was a suit, but it looked like it was wet. It looked wet, and when the light was hitting it, it changed color, like that paint on cars that when you walk in certain light.
Right, yeah.
That's what it looked like. It was like a rainbow, but it was more greens and blues and purples. It was very cool. And then I turned to see if my wife saw it, and then by the time I turned around, it was gone. Walked the dog 20 minutes later, and there were 3 little grass circles out in the front. And I still have the pictures. I was looking for them, see if I could show you, but it's not on this roll I have here.
You've had contact. I mean, I don't know how they pick people or why it happens to some people, but
it happens to all of us. I think we're all marked from day one.
I've had that. You know what's funny? I've had that same theory. I've said that to a bunch of people. I've said to so many people, it's happened to you. You just don't know it.
Richie, what do you say to Diane?
Yes. Well, we started having paranormal stuff happen too, which was really cool. And she experienced it. Yeah, she did. When we separated, she goes, I'm kind of glad that we're not living in that house anymore. And then she opened up and told me about some weird, like, wind blowing in her face. And we both experienced that at the same time. I was downstairs and she was directly above me, and I was making toast. And all of a sudden, this gust of wind went right up through me. And then all of a sudden, I hear her go, ah, like that. And she was doing her hair and stuff. And I go, what happened? She goes, I don't know. I go, well, wait until I tell you what happened. And then she came to where, we're looking up and she's looking down, and we both experienced the wind that went right through us. Pretty wild stuff, man. Yeah.
All right. Hey, everybody. So we've been at this at 1 hour and 7 minutes already. We usually take a break around the 1 hour mark. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. Let everybody stretch out. Richie, are you okay?
Richie just died.
I was ready.
All right. So let's take a 5-minute break. Smoke them if you got them. Drink them if you got them. And we will be right back. And once again, thank you, everybody. And when we come back, I'm going to have these 2 videos for you guys. And we're going to take a look at those.
Yeah.
All right. So
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Sending everybody to the back. All right, everybody. We'll see you in like 5 minutes. There is 4 minutes left to this break. Three minutes left, everybody. Just 3 minutes. Two minutes left, everybody. Get ready. 2 minutes. One more minute and we are back. One more minute. That my vape won't dissipate inside. All right, everybody, we're back. Hey, yo. Hopefully
Hey,
you guys had a
everyone.
good little break. And once again, thank you everybody for joining us. Very, very happy to have you all here. Now, on full disclosure, this will be the first time I try to play a video through StreamYard. So, wish me luck, but let's bring on our co-host. We got Burton. What's up?
Hello.
We're in his Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters / reports.
Gotta rep the great gear. Gotta rep the great gear. Come on now.
All right. And then we got Guy, get off my lawn, Merritt. He's back. He didn't run away during the break, so
You take a 5-minute nap.
yeah.
I'm eating a sandwich.
Sandwich. Everybody needs a sandwich in their life. And then, of course, we have our lovely and beautiful special guest. I mean, he's a beautiful man. I mean,
Okay,
Hey, movie star.
I swear,
Getting
you know,
weird.
when Richie takes off his shirt, it gets really weird. Oh, there he is. Wait a minute. We're back on? Shit. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Richie. Hopefully no probing happened during the break or anything. He's doing the fake freeze thing. Check him out. See his eyes move?
I was getting probed.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
is there music on or is that me?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah,
I was trying to figure out what tab I opened up. I'm like, what did I do?
God, thank you.
No,
Thank you.
that was me.
driving me
Oh,
nuts.
that's
Playing a little bit of music.
I knew it was a StreamYard song too, so I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I could put on one of my songs here, you know, if you want. So, hold on.
It's your show.
That was awfully repetitive.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. There we go. The old band from back in the days.
It's a lot better than what you were playing.
Sounded
That's
like a
good.
little.
You probably don't want to hear it.
Some of that good metal.
Good heavy metal band. All right, so let's
Hollywood.
go ahead, Hollywood, and I'm going to try to present this first video. Now, Michelle read the email on the last podcast that we did with the description of what was going on.
And
Wait,
this would have been Ryan from Madison Heights, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And
And this
so,
was on the episode with Cheryl.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember.
Yeah.
this.
So
All right.
basically, him and his wife were walking their dog in the middle of the afternoon or out front in their house. And something caught their eye up in the sky mid-afternoon, something very silver. They watched it go above the clouds, going across one way, and it then turned and went the other way. Well, it didn't turn. It stopped and went back like in reverse. Very strange. So he started filming it. Now, I want to say to people out there, I love the fact that everybody has a cell phone and you guys can try to catch things on your cell phone. That's awesome. What you have to understand, though, is those sensors in these phones are tiny. They're not going to collect a lot of light. They're not going to get a lot of detail. So the further something away is, the more it's just going to be a dot. And so if you can't really get good eyes on the object and make some kind of just good observables about it, don't just send in a dot, okay? And say, I saw this moving around. Did it make sound? What time was it? What day was it? You know, give us as much information as you can. and we'll review it. So with this one, I have a lot of information. So let me
Fantastic.
go ahead.
We'll see.
and We'll see. We'll see. All right, let me see if I can find this. Here we go. I'm going to share it.
I'm so excited
Oh.
to see this.
Okay.
It's a balloon.
Bird.
Space clutter.
Podcast.
All right. So I'm going to make sure the volume's off here. And I also want to do this. Where is it? I made a banner and it's not here. Okay. Well, anyways, I do have support or permission from the person to play this video. So just to make sure of that. And here we go.
I'm here.
So this is after it's turned around.
Is there any sound in the video?
Well, why can't we see it before it turned around?
Because he didn't have his phone ready.
Ah, how convenient. Yeah, it's always that. See,
There.
already I thought, nope, don't like it.
Wow, that's kind of weird.
Wait.
It's an airplane. 100%.
Think so?
I already saw the wings.
That's what I was thinking.
Are you serious? I mean, I can't see it that well.
Yeah, it's an airplane.
Is there any
110%.
sound to it, Wayne?
Yeah. Hold on.
Because that's not being shared.
You
So
know,
I
I don't
can't
mean to
I
sound.
had it turned off.
Okay, no worries. I just want to hear it like what I just wanna-
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, I didn't know there was that.
I mean,
Right there, you can tell it's an airplane.
yeah.
It kind of looks like an airplane.
I mean,
right
there's no doubt about it. Right there. Boom. Plane, wings, shadow. See it. Got it. Good.
there. I think that does.
And that's where he loses it. Now,
And
Yeah. But he said it went backwards. And this is why I don't mean to sound like a joke, but that's always the stuff that never gets recorded. And they always say, oh, it went backwards and all this. But here it is. It's an airplane. So
Right.
I don't think it went backwards. I think he's trying to, make it better than what it is. And that's that.
oh,
And
this is the one where he said it went backwards.
yeah.
That's what we were
Yeah, he
seeing?
said it went
Okay, okay,
backwards.
okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
There's,
So-
no footage, there's no film of that, of course.
Here.
'Cause
So
that's
what
all
I
that
did
was.
is I took a screenshot at one of the best frames that I could possibly take it. And to
Yeah.
me, it looks like an airplane.
Yeah. Good job.
And that's the thing, and that's kind of going back to what we went back to earlier. Like I absolutely like everybody in this chat right now, especially you, Wayne, you being with your background and everything. I trust your opinion on what you see right there more than most, and but I personally, actually, you know what? Maybe once in my life, I've seen a reflection come off an airplane that would look like that on camera. You know what I mean? Like that. It's not that, even though it's just an airplane and those fly overhead all the time, that's still an aerial phenomenon that most people might not be used to seeing, is all I'm saying. So like seeing that move through the clouds in the way that it did.
Can you play it again?
And
One more
playing it
time?
in
I just want to see
camera.
it move. Or can you do that?
Yep, I can do that.
Camera doesn't look like it does from the eyes, especially
Hold
from the
on.
cell phone. But
It's just hard to say, but it does.
It's just
kinda
one of
look
those
like an
things.
airplane.
All I know
it's
is
just one of those things. Like
if they saw that and couldn't tell it was an airplane, then something's wrong. Because we all grow up as kids playing with toys, and we know what airplanes are, and that would be
think the
impossible not to
movement-
know.
I
Well,
think
but-
the movement that he said is what threw him off. So
I think he made it up, but that's just me.
okay,
Well,
well,
but-
let's Burton.
and he's saying that this is that he pulled out the camera at the time that it was moving backwards. Is that what this was? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is like the last part. First, it went across the sky from right to left in the video.
Okay.
It stops and then goes the opposite direction.
Okay.
In,
So
in
that
his
is-
mind, in his eye, he saw it go.
and let's
like,
just
just-
let's
just
just yeah, let's
opposite.
just we can just
So this
start
is on
there.
the opposite side by the
You're
time
saying
he got
he's-
his phone out.
Are you saying he kind of saw it stop on a dime in reverse direction?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
All right. So here,
I
let's
don't
do
know.
this again. Here you go,
Unless he
guys.
saw two planes and in the clouds.
Going opposite directions.
Yeah, but usually that's not the case, but could be.
Yeah. It's damn far away. I mean, I don't know.
Again, sensors on your phone.
Out.
I'm thinking military. It might be some type of a military.
It is so hard to base off of just audio. One of the things I have studied a lot is like nonverbal communication and like figuring out when things like that, like what people mean when they're saying them and when they're lying and not lying and all that stuff. And it's so hard to do it just based off audio.
Right.
But there was a second right there where he goes, how the fuck did it turn around?
Right.
And like that, again, very hard to base just off that. But like his reaction, like, why would you say that? Like, why would you say that while you're taking a video of an airplane?
Well, and here's
Like,
what,
you know what I mean?
in Richie, I know you think it's a plane. I think it's a plane. The thing that throws me, though, is the wing placement. If this is the wing, it's way too far back on the fuselage.
You're looking at a shadow, bro.
This here?
Yeah.
Ooh, could be a
Okay.
shadow. Could be a shadow, but also
That could
Wayne
still be cloud cover too.
could be
It's
cloud
not.
cover as well.
It's an airplane. There's no way around it.
Well, no. But Wayne, the totally going off of the airplane. Are there any planes that you know of that you ever experienced with your time in the Air Force that had a wing that far back? Army. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. So okay, I was just trying
The
to.
thing is, I've seen clearer pictures of the Loch Ness monster. I mean,
Well,
no, I mean sincerely, it's like
I
it's
wish
like,
we actually had, but I don't think we have. But I know what you're saying.
How do you look at that and say it's that? It kind of looks like an airplane. I guess you could say it's a UFO.
It's
I
a
don't
streak
know.
of white light
It's an airplane.
moving through the sky. It's very likely an airplane. I have seen airplanes moving through the sky that got that kind of reflection bouncing off the sun, especially moving through.
Yep.
Like I have seen something that looks like that before in the sky, and I just kept watching it, and I was able to determine it was an airplane. Yes. But the audio of the guy going, how the fuck did it turn around like that? Like that throws me a little bit.
Yeah,
But and
I
end
couldn't
of the day,
hear his
Occam's
wife.
razor. So
Yeah.
Because he thought he saw something he really didn't see. That's why.
I
That's
mean,
why he was making
Occam's razor.
And
Yeah,
that's
most
possible.
likely.
I mean,
Yeah.
exactly. Basically, the jury is deadlocked. We need to send a note to the judge.
Either
Who the hell knows? It looks like an airplane, pretty much.
Either way, great video, and shout
Yeah.
out and thank you to whoever that
Yeah.
was that sent that in.
And
His name is
please,
Ryan.
UFO. I don't know.
And shout out to Ryan, and please everybody keep sending in more. Yeah.
Yep. Okay,
This is
so
how we
here's
do
the
this.
second one he sent in. He caught this while driving. I think it's pretty
Is
good.
this the same guy?
Yes.
And do we have a
So-
location?
This was in Warren. He was driving to work.
This is in Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right.
The first one was Madison Heights. So
Okay. All right.
All right. So this one I think is pretty good. I've got some theories. I'm not going to say anything. I have it muted because he doesn't say anything, and all you can hear in the background is radio play, and I don't want
Right.
any.
Copyright stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need.
So all right. So check this out.
That's kind of weird.
So he's trying to do this while he's driving, and he's kind of all over the place, and he tried to stabilize it, and that's kind of like the last thing right there.
It's kind of. I think that's strange.
well, we got- But there's see,
Sure.
that's my
Burton.
I because when like okay, he's around Warren, Michigan, right?
Yep.
So that's relatively close to the Detroit Metro Airport.
And I do want to say, hold on one second. I do want to say, Warren, Michigan, Moonlicht. I do want to say that he does not proclaim these to be UFOs. He says he doesn't know. He thought at first they were both of these were possible airplanes. So he's not saying, you know, they beamed me up and all this stuff. So he's thinking about it.
He just saw something that looked odd and took out his camera.
Yep.
Now with this one, like the last one, that's a little bit more unique. I could see that being misidentified a lot easier. This one, I saw a red light flash. And to me, that's classical airplane. Like that's just like as soon as I see that red light flash, I'm like, well, that's us. That's it might not be a normal airplane or whatever, but like that's us.
Watch again here. And when it gets blurry and those dots like get big and out of focus, you can see the flash.
Yeah.
It's right there. Right there.
Who knows?
Right there. Yep.
What are you talking about? Flash.
See it?
Red light.
It's a red and white. There's a red and white light. Yeah, it's the FAA lights. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Yep.
Yeah.
So
now, what was interesting?
Look weird. It does look weird. So right there, especially.
It does. It's
does,
out of focus. Yeah.
It's an out of exactly, and that's why it looks weird.
Yeah, through a windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan, if you're watching or listening, I think the verdict is on both of these is that you captured airplanes at a weird time that you probably weren't expecting to see something at that time. But just to be sure, let me do this. So he sent some screenshots of the here we go. And this is what freaked him out. When he first saw it, this was
that's strange looking.
Yeah, this is what caught his attention. He said they were like the lights were like in an X formation.
That's kind of strange.
You
can see that better, you know.
Yeah. So let me go to the next one.
A lot better.
I don't know if you can make. I mean, maybe
it's like an airplane.
See, it does. It does, yeah.
Well, it is. It's an airplane, but
yeah.
And still, images are, especially from the phone, are going to be a little distorted.
But it's really, really good that we're showing this right now because this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. And that, that like these are like very explainable things that can be identified, but like not everybody looks up all the time anymore. So, or especially films it. So,
or if they do. They see something that they are not expecting to see in the sky at that location, that time, or whatever. Yeah, and then these were some other ones, something streaking across the sky. But
and the more that we put stuff out like this right here with all these people watching now, and shout out to everybody. That right there makes everybody go, okay, well then if I see that in the future, then that's an airplane. I can identify that now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, I've got stranger footage of stuff behind our house that's a lot clearer. You know, I mean,
well, again,
I gotta think it looks like the Phoenix Lights. I mean, that's real clear. You know,
you gotta think.
That's very good.
I honestly believe that people think they're gonna get great shots of stuff with their cell phones. I mean, it's not going to happen unless it's close.
But we are getting better stuff than ever before.
Yes.
That is for sure. Like it is getting better.
I'm not going to say we're getting better stuff. We're getting more stuff.
At least more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now more people have phones, cameras in their pockets, but yeah, it's just
that was a great effort though. At least he did a lot of good stuff with that.
And very what was it? Again, Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan from Madison Heights, Michigan.
Ryan from Madison Heights. Huge shout out. And as Wayne always says, keep your eyes to the sky, man, because you're watching and you're taking these videos and that's fantastic. And one of them you might, who knows?
It only
you're going
takes one.
fishing.
It only takes one.
And you're going fishing. So
Yep.
let's keep going, man. Like, don't stop. Like those were both really, really cool videos and really good examples of now we can now more people can identify something and you know, kind of like continue the whole thing forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Richie, before I turn this over to you, because I got a question I want to ask you. Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question here, but I like what Terry says here. These are like door cams with the disappearing people or flashes of light. Awesome, a UFO. No, it's a shitty camera.
Yep.
And if here's the thing, and this is why, Richie, I said I wanted to turn this over to you for a minute. The equipment that you go hunting with. Are you there?
I'm right here.
Okay. I'm just checking on you, making sure you're not passing out. I know you did a show before you came on, so but
I'm not that old.
I am.
But the equipment that people are using, if they want to get serious about finding this stuff and getting good evidence, what do you say to them? What do they need, man?
Tripod number one. Get a tripod and a handheld tripod too. Get one of each, or get one that you could use both. But I recommend getting a high 8 camera. You can still buy them for like $60, and I recommend that because everything's digital now, and I love high 8, and I say get that. Also, if you can, get a camera with incredible zoom. Like I have the P900, the Nikon. I mean, you can see craters on the moon very easily.
Wow.
The P1000 came out after that. It's even a little better and sharper. But you can definitely spot a plane miles away and have no problem. With the high 8, I can't, even though I have a 20 times optical zoom on there, plus what the camera came with, still not enough. But the get a digital camera for that so you can get really close. Stay in optical. Don't go into digital if you can. Get a good supply of batteries. Get a drone if you can. Drones are always good in case you see an object. Maybe you can fly your drone closer to it. I've done that, and it's really cool. So I released a balloon, and I thought I would be easy to find. I was doing this test, and I couldn't see it, but when I played it back, that balloon took off further than I could have imagined. And I saw it, and I actually have a couple minutes of it, but it's a little tiny dot. But so stuff like that. And what else? Laser pointer, flashlight, mace. You never know.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
If you don't
no-
know what
Because
that's
people, I'm talking about people and animals.
animals.
I've been approached by a lot of peoples and strange. Well, in Arizona, the coyotes and a lot of armadillo. No, not armadillo. Whatever those big pigs are.
Dogs?
Javelina.
Oh, javelinas. Yeah.
They're very, very dangerous. Those things.
Chupacabra.
They're very aggressive.
And the
Chupacabras.
chupacabra.
Yep.
Some tunes. Maybe a little. Depends how long you're going to go out there. Maybe. I always like to go alone because everybody's too loud for me. But I needed Sirius satellite. Howard Stern was on Brent, when he first came out on satellite. Other than that, that's it. And a lot of patience.
And take a lot of notes about your environment.
And
Temperature,
Yes.
wind, all of that.
Verbally narrate all the time.
I'd
Yep.
still like to see us all get together in March and go to that spot. I didn't tell Rich this, and I've talked a lot, but one of the odd features of this whole thing is this happened on March 18th of 94. Met a guy I went to high school with, said, I saw that too. But it was 1995. Then I met a gal that said her neighbors had seen it in 2008. Then we did a podcast, and a kid heard it. We ended up doing a podcast with him and another guy, and he'd seen it at the same spot I'd seen it on 2019. But I think in March, we should all go out to that spot in the freeway where so many of us have seen this triangle.
Yeah.
Which I set up a camera.
That
I'd
would be
be-
incredible.
I would be very much down for that.
I mean, Alex has seen it. The lady that took my blood
Yeah.
told me, "Oh, my neighbor saw that. He's an attorney and his wife's a teacher." He said it was a huge triangle right between Baldwin and Thompson Road. I'm like, what?
There are reports in the Flint Journal of a 14-year-old boy who saw the.
Yeah, I've got some
thing.
newspaper. I do have
Yep.
so Rich knows too, because anytime you meet a new person in this, I mean, this stuff sounds so friggin' crazy. I do have some newspaper documentation that backs this up. I mean, this thing was seen over Flint about 5 days before I had this thing. I didn't even see the article. I found it like 27 years later, I finally went down to the Journal and used the microfilm thing. And there was a big story about this kid seeing this thing it was March the 10th. So it would have been 8 days before, but it was way up in the air, but it scared the hell out of him. And he said he saw this triangle. He said as big as his street. I think he meant his block. But I didn't see that article. I mean, till years and years later. And
so
been seen around here. Man.
Just real quick, just to reiterate, and some people in chat were saying it, Ryan, definitely keep your eyes on that sky because obviously you're going to have that UFO bug. So keep an eye out. But if anybody out there listening to this, and when this gets released as an audio podcast here and probably tonight or early tomorrow, if you have a story, same thing, any videos or whatever, please email us at mi.ufo.podcast@gmail.com. So if you're only listening to audio, that's our email address. I do have it going across the bottom of the screen. And, we love to hear from people and talk about these things and hear your experiences, whether it turns out to be an airplane or not. It's good to know and get different eyes and opinions on these things that you might be capturing. So for sure. And it helps us too, because we will be going out and looking for things ourselves. And we want to make sure we can try to identify the best things that we can, the best that we can. So
hey, can you tell me something of why Michigan seems to have the most triangle sightings out of any place other than Belgium?
Great Lakes.
It's a great question.
Great Lakes.
In the 90s, you guys seemed like every year there was triangle sightings. Unsolved Mysteries did a few of them from your area.
Yeah.
94.
1994.
So Rich, I mean, this happened March 18th with 94, and this is during a huge UFO flap here in Michigan, March 8th.
But that was the huge UFO flap that got all the credit and all the attention was on the west side of the
Trumbull
state.
County.
Yeah,
Lake Michigan.
Yep.
Okay. They got all the attention. Before that happened in the same month. And this is weird because here in Michigan, it's always March. At least it seems that.
And in Arizona, it was always March.
Right.
Really?
But
yes.
Guy and Michelle and I and Alex and Ed all had triangular experiences on the east side of the state. And Ed, who you don't know, he's not on here. He may be listening later.
He saw it
Hopefully he's doing well.
He saw it an hour before I did.
Wow.
40. Look, I got to tell you this really fast, super fast. But can I tell him a story?
I was just going to tell him what happened. So go ahead.
Okay. So
make it quick. Be pithy.
So I do this podcast with Michelle and Wayne, and a couple of guys hear it. And one guy hears it, and he's like, he contacts Wayne.
This is crazy.
We start talking. Wayne introduces me to the guy, and he says, I saw the same thing in 94, and it was a Friday in March like you, but I don't know if it was the 18th, right? So Wayne wants to get us all together for a podcast. And me and Ed have met each other. We're talking on Messenger, and he can't remember what Friday it was. And the night before we do the podcast, he messages me, and he says, oh, man, it was the same night. He said it was 4:00. You saw it at 5. I saw it at 4 a.m. And I said, well, how did you remember? And he said, well, Ed's got kind of this gravelly voice. And he says, I remember it was St. Patty's Day. And he lives in a town about 40 miles east of Flint. He said, it was St. Patty's Day. And I went up to the Night Owl bar to have a beer, and he said, they had a band playing. And he says, the band said they were taking requests. So I went up and asked them to play Wipeout. And some smartass said, we don't know the words because, Wipeout's I said, dude, I've been to Imlay City once in my life. And the band that was playing at the Night Owl Bar was Debbie Lee and the Cruisers And I was a piano player in that band, brother.
Dude,
I mean,
dude.
what are the chances of this shit?
It's too cool.
Nobody, I wouldn't believe it. I mean, I was stunned. And he was on some country road at 4 a.m. going to get some food for work. And the thing was floated across a field right above his car, turned like a crab. And he said it described it the same way with a Tetris thing on the bottom. He said it started floating away. Then it just shot it just went warp speed. And he said, and Ed was a pilot. He actually flew for Continental. He was in the military. He said,
He was in the Air Force as a pilot.
He said, as bad as that scared me, he said, suddenly, he said, there was this roar. And he said, 2 F-16s with afterburners on went screaming right over my friggin' car, chasing this thing.
Huh.
And an hour later, I'm meeting the same thing. 30 years later, I meet this guy who says, and I mean, me and Linda went to Imlay City recently. I went the second time. I'm 71 and in about 2 weeks. I'm 70. But I mean, I'd been to Imlay City that one time. You know, Rich, you're really starting to irritate me. You struck me as kind of a nice guy, too much of a skeptic, but now you're just being an asshole.
I was just going off. That was off the Kevin Hart thing. And you guys don't know it.
I don't know.
I do know that one.
Yeah.
I thought that was totally bizarre when he tells me this long story. What piqued his memory was this interaction he'd had with this band, and I'm like, dude, for all I know, it could have been me that said it. You know, I don't think I would say that because I'm generally wouldn't say that kind of stuff. But I've had a lot of these bizarre synchronicities. Wayne and we don't have time for. We've been over them before. Oh, yeah. That's nothing. But when he said that, I was like just stunned. I was like, so what piques your memory is you talk to this guy in this band that I'm playing in the piano, right? And 30 years later, we're meeting on this podcast, and you had this same thing happen to you that happened to me, and I'm like, it's some strange thing. But anyway, I'm going to be quiet now and eat my sandwich. I wouldn't. Let me. Don't
forget the pudding.
My final word is, I wouldn't believe me if I heard this. I'd go, that guy. You know?
You're full of shit.
Yeah. I want to be a pop icon.
Yeah. You want to make millions off of YouTube. Right.
You know, you should title this "The Tragic Ending of Guy Merritt." You'd get like 8 million views. I'm going to get a monetized channel, and it's going to make an 8-second video. The tragic ending of everybody. They all die. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter.
He's going to hold up his little sign.
Yeah, send money.
Send money.
Yeah.
All right, Burton, what did you want to jump in on before we wrap this up? We got like 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I can't I can't like really get into like I was gonna tie a lot of things back to
okay.
Itself.
Hey, then let's save it. Let's save it for next live stream.
Yeah, because I still have it all written down. Like I guess okay. I mean we got if I got 5 quick minutes, I guess the one thing I'll say is the and because Richie is still here,
I left.
How you guys described the Tetris and and Richie, you described the hexagonal shapes, which I don't know if you're a fan of like Marvel movies or whatever, but lately in the Marvel movies they're doing a lot of like the hexagonal shapes and like the quantum realm and all that shit. The Tetris shapes, the hexagonal shapes stick out to me because in the past one reason why a lot of people will try to write off UFO experiencers is because they're like, oh well, you saw it in a TV show or something, like the flying saucer in the 50s, all that stuff. That was shown before anybody was describing it and all that stuff. I have tonight right now is the first time I've ever heard anyone describe a hexagonal shape or a Tetris style shape on a UFO. And And both of you would have experienced those long before any of these were ever put
1994
on
for
film.
me.
Exactly. Yes. Long, and to this day, I've never seen anything like a Tetris shape on film. I've never seen that design on film
No, I know.
ever.
It's weird, right?
So yeah.
And
so,
mine was in 1981.
Wow, was it really?
what?
Yeah, I was 13 or 14. Yeah, I'm old.
Wow.
So you were
That is
13 in
when you said
1981. All right.
When he said that blew me away because that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
No, it's
that's
so
it.
cool. It's
I
wild.
never snapped to that, but that's
And
it.
that really triggered for me because I'm like, I've never heard anyone describe that. And Guy, you have watched a way more documentaries than I have probably, but I have watched a lot for sure.
I don't know.
And I've never heard anyone describe it. I've listened to millions of episodes of Coast to Coast AM and all this stuff. Like I love this stuff, and this is something that I've never heard described before ever. So
Hey, Martin. So
it's-
Burton. So I just want to address Martin here. And Martin, if you're new to the channel and everything and what we do here and our little
it's all good.
guest groups that we have here, Burton comes more from a background of ghost hunting. He does ghost
Oh, yeah.
research, paranormal stuff like that. Not so much UFOs. We had him on the podcast to talk about the Michigan Dogman, like one of our very first or second episodes.
I think the fourth or fifth episode,
Fourth or fifth? Okay.
something like that.
So, well, we had started talking via email very early in the podcast. So that was
I do come from a little bit of a different world. Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
But this is all. But like, it's nothing. Like I love all of it. I love all of the paranormal.
I think it's all
wherever.
related. I do think it's all related. Most of the people, I'm an exception. I did have a weird, but I have not seen a ghost. I've had a weird psychic thing, and I've had a lot of synchronicities. But I think this stuff I think somehow it's related. We'll find someday, and I mean, be able to explain how it's related, maybe. But yeah.
And the only reason I come from like the more paranormal or cryptid world is just because those are the experiences that I personally have had.
Right.
I haven't had a UFO experience yet.
Same
I
here
hope
with,
to.
and reverse goes to me.
See, yeah, exactly.
Well,
So and same with Guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all. But I love that like we're all here together from different.
No, man, you
categories.
bring a
So-
lot to this thing, and I'm glad you're here. And I mean, I'm not saying it because we're sitting here and,
Oh,
I
no,
mean, it's
I love
I'm interested in the ghost thing, and I've got some experience or friends, people who've seen UFOs, who I know are not crazy, who I know have seen UFOs, and they've had some poltergeist stuff. So
Yeah. So one thing that we try to do here on the podcast and the live stream is try to come to things with different perspectives and we generally don't have guests. We had Jack Bouchon on after the after we did an audio interview with him, and then he agreed to come on as a surprise guest on the live stream. So besides Jack Bouchon and now Richie, it's usually just the four of us sitting around here discussing this stuff. So, we come from different places.
Gemma
As a
was on
science
one.
teacher, so as a science teacher here, I want data and evidence, and I want stuff I can play with and experiment with. Besides my own stupid sighting and Michelle's stupid sighting that we had, whatever that was. And I can't prove that. Michelle can't prove it. All we have is what we saw and what we went through. And that, we weren't abducted or anything like that. No missing time. But that started all this. And so I have my platform, and Michelle's here helping me as much as possible to talk about all of this stuff and see where it goes. So we open that platform up to all kinds of people. We've had the state director of MUFON here for Michigan, Bill Konkoleski, on, Sev Tak from MUFON, Terry Lane Keel from MUFON. They've all had abduction experiences and things like that. Do I buy it all? I have no idea. It's their story. But I'm collecting data. And Michelle and I listen to these people and we try to put things together to make some type of rational explanation as to what's going on. And we really are just still going nowhere.
How do how do you figure this out?
No.
I don't think we're ever going to, but I hear people talking about disclosure, this, that, and the other. And even if the government came out tomorrow and said, this is what it is, I don't even think I would believe them. I don't.
We have both said that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say this. I remember when, as a teenager, driving around getting drunk with a buddy, and we talked about it. The communists took over. We were going to form the resistance, but I've lost all faith. No, I'm serious. Me and Craig Jednick, we were going to fight. Now I'm like, I totally don't disbelieve the government. I totally don't believe the government about hardly anything. I mean, I hate to say that, but I'm not some huge conspiracy person, but the government's never going to tell you this. I know they're never going to this. They're never going to. How do you, let's just indulge me here. Guy's wrong. He's crazy. Let's say some people really get abducted. All right. What government's going to come out and say that? They're not going to say that. It's not going to happen. It's crazy.
No. And just to Barry's point here out of chat, he says, check out Michigan UFO podcast. They got quite a catalog on YouTube. Subscribe. So I do put all the audio shows up on YouTube. This is the start of our 3rd year of doing this. We just recently started talking to people and basically putting it out there for everybody to kind of see and hear our thought process and interview people as to what's going on. And we've created some amazing connections with friends now, people we would call friends anytime. And it's created a lot of connections and a lot of stories being shared. So, some people might think about sitting around the campfire and telling ghost stories and things like that.
Scaring the shit out of each other.
Yeah. And I think we're there with this whole platform thing until we can actually do something physically. So anyways, that's my my introduction to everybody about what we're doing here and where we come from. Guy's obviously an experiencer.
I don't know what I am. I don't know what I am.
Besides a cranky old man telling people to get off their lawns. But yeah, this has been awesome.
I want to say, I was nervous about having Rich on. I'm not familiar with Rich, and I thought, my story's pretty weird, and I thought, man, this guy's going to think I'm crazy. But it was really kind of a gift to me that you had him on here because, man, I'd never dreamt that there was some common. We have some common ground that I found fascinating, and it kind of helps me. I've not done real good with this. I mean, the first time you guys interviewed me, you edited the thing because I started crying. I mean, this is not easy shit to talk about for me because I hear myself, and I have a degree in psychology and did internships at community mental health, and I mean, I know, that. This sounds like the ravings of a schizophrenic or something, and it's all real. I mean,
yeah,
real.
No,
is.
that interview,
anyway,
that first interview we did with you, Guy, was it was very hard, I think, for everybody involved. But
hard,
you literally broke down, and we had to stop recording and give you some time.
I'd never gone through. I stuffed all this stuff down.
That's it.
For years. And then when Linda and I got together, because we'd grown up together, and I think that was almost choreographed, how I finally got my life right. I felt like I could tell her this stuff because she knows me. She knows Butch is not a bullshitter. Butch had a pretty good life, like living at the Dunes Casino for 6 months with his own.
And Butch is you, just so everybody knows.
Yeah. I don't make shit up, and I don't like people that do. And I knew that, she knows me from ground zero since we were 8. And I knew I could tell her So that helped me a lot. And then I had a heart attack and I went to a therapist, and because I was a little depressed, and third session in, I started crying, and all this crap came out. I'm like, I got to tell somebody this. And are they going to think I'm crazy? I was obsessed with the idea the world's got to know this, not about me. I mean, about who we are, what we are, that there's this thing going on, whatever it is. I don't know. But the point is this, you guys have been good to me, and I still get a little emotional at times. It bothers me. I started smoking. I mean, I just,
I do too, man.
Yeah.
We all get emotional. It's a personal thing. It's right to the heart, right to your soul, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
Richie, before we go,
you kind of a sympathetic personality. I mean, you've been through some odd things. I've been too.
Yeah.
So Richie, before we go, any last words you want to throw out there? Listening to Guy's story, listening to our story, seeing what's going on, what we're all about when we're doing our stuff. And I know I've talked to you on your show plenty of times, and I really appreciate your show. I love your humor. I crack up, and man, sometimes you rip people, and it's just hilarious. If people don't have a sense of humor about it, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe because you're the target of it. You're kind of getting your butt handed to you a little bit, but don't be bullshitters. We don't need that in this study. So Rich, before we head out, man,
what?
Can
you repeat that? I'm just kidding.
See, that's what I mean. There's Richie. Hey, everybody, I found Richie.
If he comes again, bring a dish to pass next time.
Yeah. Go church style. Sunday church style.
Exactly. Jammer Travels, thanks for joining us, man. But Jammer's got it all right there. A goosh.
In all I want out of ufology, I just need people to just tell the truth. There's no reason to embellish your story. It's amazing on its own merit if it's real. And a lot of us have been in this long enough, and even those who have had experiences and haven't been in the field long enough can sniff out when somebody's making it up. So don't think you're going to get away with it forever, Anjali. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Let me start over. It's a tough field. I get picked on for being friends with people who made mistakes in the past, and they're calling me a hoaxer, and I never hoaxed or lied about anything that I remember or want to. That sounded bad, didn't it? It is what it is. This field is filled with people who have bigger egos than their evidence, and all they want to do is be heard and feel special. It's a really weird world we're living in right now, especially the ufology world.
Yeah.
And the ghost paranormal, it's all the same. Nothing's different over there too, because I kind of do both, but I mainly stick with UFOs. But let's just do the right thing. And your cell phones are great, but get a real camera if you can.
Yeah,
and you want to be serious.
That was a really good list you did, Rich, about like telling people. That's for reference. If you want to know how to go about, catching one of these on film the right way, and that list you gave was excellent. So
yeah. Thanks. And
and just so everybody knows, Richie does his show GUFON. He does a part of his show that he calls GUFON University, where
Goof on you.
Yeah, Goof on you.
It is though.
Oh my!
Where you help people and talk about what their steps are they should do and the things they should do if they want to take this seriously, right?
Yeah, about every situation you could be put in. I try to, give that to the world and throw my experiences out there in a little school type setting. Let's get ready, get your pencils out, sit forward, head behind head, and don't throw anything at me.
Yeah.
And then I just tell people, hey, you want a good camera? Get this camera. I'll throw up some cameras that are affordable to expensive, show it on the screen, then show some videos and explain why this is this. And, I just try to explain how I do things. We even get into body language and liars and stuff like that too. So it's not all about visuals. It's, visual, but, body language, not just UFOs and stuff. I love the body language stuff because it really does work if you know how to use it.
Hey,
really
thanks,
do.
Big Willie. We appreciate you. Good you stopped by.
Hey, Big Willie.
Now, here's a panel. Big Willie's a podcaster here from Michigan as well.
Really?
Sweet.
So yeah.
Michigan's got a ton of good people out there, man.
You know,
For
we
UFOs.
see a lot, man. We see a lot.
You know why I like doing these things? Because I don't like being on the internet. Believe it or not, I really don't. I made some videos years ago, but like when we've got this little thing, it doesn't look like somebody's watching us. And I like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep. If I knew how many people are watching us right now, I would be a lot.
Barry.
Yeah.
Hey, guy,
Barry says, "Hey, guy." I think he's supposed to say, "We're on your side." Like I said, I'm trying to get abducted just so I can get on the damn show.
I would recommend against this, Barry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
we recommend against that. So,
Did I ever, next time if I ever come on, I got to tell you guys about, and I don't know if I did, the Ouija board story.
oh, dude, we're
Really?
definitely not having you on again. Just so you
All
know.
right.
Oh, we're
no, that's
definitely
okay. Then I
having
won't
you
tell
on
the
again.
story.
Oh,
I
But I'm-
really
okay. I've
wanna-
been overruled by the boss.
No,
Michelle
but I
says
get
we
to
are
tell my
having you on
magic
again.
8-ball
So.
story. You guys want to hear my magic? I don't really have a magic 8-ball story, but
It disappeared.
Oh my God.
You ask and you shall receive.
how weird is that? I didn't know you had one.
Yeah.
More synchronicities.
Yeah,
Are you kidding? I'm psychic. I got to have one of those.
that's right. So Richie already knows we're gonna have
That's
him back
funny.
on at some
Can't
point.
believe
Yeah,
I
it was,
was being a wise guy, you know.
of course. I would expect nothing less. You knew I was going to say that too. You knew.
Hey, Richie, I hope you come back because you make me feel less weird.
That is the greatest compliment of all, actually. Good.
That is
Good. Because I've been called weird my whole life. That made me feel better.
Yeah.
It confirms it.
No, yeah, your experiences are real interesting, and
Yeah.
I
Thanks,
believe-
man. Yeah. So are yours.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Richie has one of the best videos of I don't know, UFO something going on in the sky where there's something kind of hanging in this. You have to go over to a show and see it. And I don't know which one it was that you played that, Richie.
Was it daytime or night?
It was daytime. There was something sitting up in the sky very high. And then one thing looks like it's going to run into it and it just dodges it. And then another one comes and dodges it.
Yeah.
It is
yeah. That is
so weird,
it's
man.
It's a UFO fleet. Yeah. And I caught it. And, and I've been looking for the video. I have to grab it. I can't play it now because it's on an external hard drive.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm
very
telling
cool
you,
sighting.
Yeah. So next time you come on, get that thing prepped up and ready, and we're gonna have you show
But-
what a real UFO sighting may look like.
Well, I did. I actually got a video ready just in case. It was that, I don't know if you ever saw it, where I call it the city in the sky. And it was a 5-hour UFO sighting. I have it recorded for 2 hours. All
Dang.
sorts of different things.
Next
You
time.
never saw that? Damn.
No, I think I missed that one. All right, so next time, dude. Next time.
You mean
for
you're
sure.
not at GUFON every night at 7:00?
No, unfortunately.
I know, right? I have to be there, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on, by the way.
Dude, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. So we really appreciate
Nice
it.
meeting everybody again.
And officially making us a friend of GUFON and putting us on your channel list on YouTube. So that's a great help, and we really appreciate it. So,
oh, did I do that?
yeah,
Oh, all right.
yeah. I know you got that like 35% THC stuff you got going on over there somewhere.
Yeah, it's right
So,
here, actually. Yeah.
You know,
That's the
yeah,
Snoochie
there you go.
Boochies. That's the Snoochie Boochies right there.
Yeah, snoochie boochies.
Here's my
We do not condone snoochie boochies. We do not condone
supporting the
snoochie boochies.
pharmaceutical in it.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, coffee is the snoochie boochie around here.
Coffee is mine.
Yeah, nice crowd
All right.
tonight. That was a fun show, man.
Yeah, hey, again,
fun.
thanks for coming on. And man, here we are, 2 hours and 6 minutes and 7 minutes now, and it flew by, man.
Felt like
And
20 minutes.
Literally.
yeah, awesome. Even with the 5-minute break. I mean, geez.
Yeah, right. I forgot all about that too. No, it went by so fast. It did.
Yeah.
Good
It
stuff,
All right.
man. Good stuff.
All right. Well, thanks, Richie. I'm gonna send you to the back here, and thanks.
Good
for
night,
joining us.
everybody.
Good night, Richie.
Good night.
Thank you, Richie.
Nice
Good night.
meeting you,
Enjoyed it.
Guy and Burton, Michelle, Wayne.
Yes.
See you later.
All right.
See you, Richie.
Nice guy.
All right. So
Wild experiences.
there we have it. We had Rich from GUFON.
That was amazing.
I wrote down the 2 videos. So
Awesome.
Cool.
So ready to talk about those and ready to talk about that Ouija board experience.
Yep. So we'll get them back on, and we'll have a good time hanging out. So everybody out in the chat room and watching this, thank you very much. Man, incredible crowd and turnout for tonight. Michelle, what do you think?
We had some very nice conversations going on.
Well, Richie does say that.
I saw ice cream and bacon at one point.
I saw that too.
I know. I'm
yeah.
like, I almost put in there, chocolate coated bacon is actually really, really good.
It actually
Really?
is. Yeah.
Woo.
Or candied bacon.
Weird. but
Oh,
it's good.
candy bacon.
Yeah.
It is
I'm
good.
starting to look like what's that guy's Lloyd? Christopher
Thank you,
Lloyd.
Jammer.
My hair's kind of going.
Oh, Christopher Lloyd, like the doctor from.
I'm starting to look
Back
like
in-
the dude in Back to the Future.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Thank you, Jammer. He says, great show, new sub. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dorothy and Straw Dog.
Yep.
And
Straw
just
Dog.
as a footnote, all my UFO stuff and I made all this up. None of it's true. Not really.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
you've
right.
been making it up with us for the last 3 years.
I'll tell you what, guy.
I
If
wish
you're
I
making
was-
it up, you
I
got
wish I
everybody
was making
fooled.
some of it up.
So, Straw Dog says, I upgraded my sub to the Notify. Awesome. Yes. If you guys are still here and you're listening, please on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and then hit that bell. So when we go live, when we go live, we do every other Saturday, because the other Saturdays we release our audio podcast. And Michelle and I are both
Thank you,
full-time
John.
teachers, which means we put in about 50 hours a week. If we're lucky, we're constantly working until the summertime. So we don't have a lot of time, but we do the best that we can. And the live stream is new for us. So, but thank you all. And Dorothy, you are awesome. And Dorothy, one of these days when I talk to you, I am going to show you a picture of my mother. And it is strangely
You look
you
like
look a lot like
his
my
mom.
mom. It's crazy.
from what I remember of Dorothy from years and years ago.
Yeah. And her name
So-
was Dorothy, by the way.
Yeah.
Really?
My grandmother's name.
That's weird.
My grandmother's name is Dorothy. Another synchronicity.
Weird, man.
Synchronicity.
Weird.
Sorry.
Things are so weird. All right, everybody. Burton, it's been awesome. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Save those
Th-
notes for 2
I-
weeks.
I got him right here. Thank you guys so much for having me back on. This was incredible. Thank you.
Of course, man.
Always Burton.
We wouldn't do this without you guys. And speaking of guys, let's go over to the singular guy.
I just
Guy,
want to
thanks,
say
man.
that I want to say this. Thank you for having me. And for my birthday, I already know what Linda's going to get me a microphone, because I remind myself when we do these of Jim Varney. You know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah.
You guys have got these nice microphones, and I've got this $30 refurbished webcam. And in order to, I listened to a couple of these, and in order to speak and make it all work, I got to lean in. So like I said, I remind myself of Jim Varney. But I'm going to she's buying me a real microphone. The one you suggested, right? I'll feel like a real, broadcast,
Yeah, that's what we use. They're like $100 microphones.
Yeah.
You sound fantastic, though, guy. Like you never sound bad.
I was gonna say.
Like I said, I used to be WFJC, the radio voice of Flint Community Junior College.
Hey Burton, talk about your shows.
Yeah, Diane wants you to talk about your show for
Oh
a minute.
yeah. Oh sure. Yeah. I
Plug your show.
Lost in the Dark podcast. I do Lost in the Dark podcast. That's where we talk to a lot of like heavy metal It's a heavy metal podcast. We talked to a lot of like local musicians, national musicians, worldwide musicians even. We talked to a lot of people
Cool.
all about like just heavy metal and stuff like that. And then I recently started an audio only podcast, which is available. It's not on YouTube, but it's everywhere else. Called Follow the Reaper, which is full disclosure, I ripped that off from one of my favorite bands. That's one of their album titles, but Children of Bodom. But that's where I discuss first or second hand true paranormal encounters that people send me in. Was heavily influenced by another podcast called Monsters Among Us. If you've ever heard that, I have no problem plugging that one because it's genuinely one of my favorite podcasts I've ever heard, and I listen to it constantly. So it was very much influenced by that. So it's just people sending me in audio recordings or written accounts of their first or second hand paranormal encounters of any kind at all, whether it be UFO, ghosts, cryptids, whatever. And I just kind of discuss it and go over that. But the main one is definitely Lost in the Dark, where we talk to musicians and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing for, I don't know. Actually, the first week of March will be Lost in the Dark's 5-year anniversary. So
Yeah, good job.
Which of course synchronizes up with your guys' sightings and everything.
I know, right?
Why don't you upload it to YouTube? I'm just curious.
Lost in the Dark is on YouTube. Lost in the Dark is like pretty much only on YouTube. Follow the Reaper isn't yet. It only has 10 episodes. I've taken a little bit of a break for the last couple months.
All right.
It just because I haven't really had that many stories come in also, so I don't really have many more to discuss yet besides my own personal ones, which I still have a couple more to get into.
Yep.
But
plus ours, we got to send you our UFO sighting.
Yep.
But plus, we have had our, like I told one of my ghost stories and sent it to you.
Yes. So. Yep. Wayne has been on one of the episodes of Follow the Reaper. 100%. That was a fantastic ghost story. Actually,
it's creepy.
I really liked that one a lot, actually. And so I'm just looking for more stories for anybody to send in.
So if I will put links to both of the shows in the show notes once this is done and up on YouTube and everything's all saved and all that, and I can edit the description. I will put links to both of Burton's podcasts.
Thank you.
And email him. So if you got a ghost story, you can or some type of paranormal story, you can email him, and he likes it read. So, read it. Record it and send it to him, and he plays your recording.
Yep. Just honestly, the easier way to do that would be follow the Reaper podcast on Facebook or Instagram, and just send me a video.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'll rip the audio from that and I'll play it. That's I like it. I just like it from the person's voice. You know what I mean? Because when I read it, everybody embellishes on certain things. So
Barry's still trying to get abducted.
He's still trying to get abducted. He wants to see us next week. Remember, Barry, 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks. And then let's see, just one last thing. And once again, thanks to everybody who came in and watched and subscribe, notify, all of that. John's Southern Exposure says, Michigan UFO sightings and paranormal encounters. Hey, I just subbed you. I came over from GUFON. Nice to meet you all. Well, John, nice to meet you. We're glad you're here.
Just missed Richie.
You just missed Richie, but you can always go back and watch.
And he'll be back.
And
he said he was afraid some dude called John Southern Exposure was showing up. And he said, I got to get out of here.
I think he was saying he tried to block him or something and it wouldn't work. All right, everybody. Look, it's been 2 hours and 16 minutes. We're going to get out of here. We're all falling asleep. So it's been awesome. Thank you guys very much. And remember, keep your eyes to that sky.